Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how you can transform your 30s into a decade of discipline, health, and just profound internal peace. We'll be doing this by looking at some incredibly powerful, grounded insights drawn directly from navigating life and career in Japanese culture. So, whether you're living right in the heart of Tokyo right now, or you're just looking to apply these amazing principles to your own life wherever you happen to be, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get started.
So let me ask you a question. Do you still feel stuck in that survival mode from your 20s? You know the feeling. The 20s are famously chaotic, surviving on cheap instant ramen, making some pretty reckless decisions, and sprinting to catch the absolute last train home at night. But as you cross that threshold into your 30s, relying on those same old survival tactics, well, it just doesn't work anymore. This new decade requires a massive, highly intentional paradigm shift if you truly want to thrive.
Look, your 20s were all about experimenting, making mistakes, and quite frankly, just surviving the chaos. But your 30s, that is the era of health, wisdom, and discipline. It's no longer about just getting by. It's entirely about building the long-term habits that are going to dictate the rest of your life.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to hit 5 key phases of our personal evolution. 1. Welcome to your 30s. 2. Body and bank foundations. 3. Mastering your inner world. 4. Curating your social circle. And finally, number 5, the power of Kaizen.
All right, let's jump right into phase 1. Welcome to your 30s, the awakening.
This is the exact moment it hits you. The habits you build right now, today, will permanently shape your career trajectory, your most important relationships, and your peace of mind. The foundation you pour today is literally what you'll be standing on for decades. Now, it's incredibly common to feel like it's too late, right? Especially in Japan's traditionally structured career environment where there's so much pressure to lock into a stable path. But we need to challenge that assumption. It's never too late to learn AI tools to summarize reports or translate your emails. It's not too late to pivot to an entirely new job, learn a new skill, or move to a new city. And hey, if you tried to open a small online shop selling Japanese snacks or anime items and it didn't work out, actually, scratch that. It wasn't a failure at all. That was merely a lesson in pricing, marketing, or timing. You take the lesson and you pivot.
Moving right along to phase 2, body and bank foundations, fueling the journey.
You know, we really got to talk about your physical and financial health, because physical energy and financial breathing room are the absolute required fuel for this entire journey. Without them, everything else just grinds to a halt. We absolutely must move away from the trap of convenience. You know, grabbing those quick konbini onigiri, the instant ramen, the sugary drinks from the vending machine. Instead, we need to replace all of that with intention. Muscle loss becomes super noticeable in your 30s, so strength training is vital, whether that's at a local gym or a public fitness park. And never, ever underestimate the power of replacing a rushed commute with an intentional, stress-reducing walk in places like Yoyogi or Uno Park to just clear your mind.
And right alongside that, we've got to address the elephant in the room: rest and presentation. In a culture known for intense, long work hours, social drinking after work, and catching those late trains, fiercely protecting your sleep is practically a superpower. It drastically boosts your focus and your discipline. Coupled with maintaining neat posture, clean clothes, and simple grooming, which, by the way, are highly valued in Japan, these habits profoundly impact how others treat you, both in the workplace and in your social life.
Now, let's think about how we spend our money. Buying luxury watches, designer bags, or branded sneakers just to maintain that successful Tokyo or Osaka image is really just buying status. But building up your savings and paying off debt, now that is using your money to buy the ultimate luxury: freedom. It buys you options. It gives you the ability to literally walk away from a toxic job, to travel, or to simply rest when your body needs it.
Okay, on to phase 3, mastering your inner world, finding internal peace.
So this is where we start to look inward. We cultivate our mindset, practice true forgiveness, and learn the really fine art of emotional management to find lasting inner peace. Communication in a formal Japanese workplace, for instance, can sometimes feel incredibly indirect or even cold and overly formal. But the key takeaway here is to always assume positive intent. That seemingly cold feedback from a boss isn't necessarily a personal attack on you. Often, it's just a cultural method designed to maintain harmony and avoid direct conflict while improving the work. When you stop taking it personally, your stress levels will absolutely plummet.
And, you know, speaking of letting things go, we have to talk about forgiveness. In a society where direct emotional conversations are often avoided just to preserve harmony, unresolved feelings can stay hidden for years. You might need to forgive family members who pressured you, a friend who betrayed you, or even yourself. And remember, you aren't pretending what happened was okay. You're choosing to release the emotional burden without waiting around for an apology that may never come. Forgiveness is a gift you give entirely to yourself.
Navigating daily life, whether it's dealing with those incredibly crowded morning trains, the strict expectations of punctuality, or intense work pressure, requires immense emotional maturity. You have to shift from being reactive to being responsible. You really have to learn to pause. Instead of saying, "You made me angry," you say, "I felt angry, but I'm responsible for how I choose to respond."
That brings us to phase 4, curating your social circle, the outer environment.
It's like they always say, your internal world is heavily influenced by your outer environment. The people you surround yourself with must act as a direct mirror for your highest goals. You absolutely have to evaluate who gets your time. Surround yourself with reliable people who inspire you. If you want to learn the language, find friends who patiently practice Japanese with you. If you want health, join groups that actually enjoy hiking and preparing balanced meals. Step away from those who just complain, gossip, or waste money. And most importantly, judge these friends by their consistent actions, not just their words.
And finally, we arrive at phase 5, the power of Kaizen, the path forward.
So, we've talked about all these massive life changes, right? But how do we actually execute them without totally burning out? This brings us to the amazing philosophy of Kaizen, the concept of continuous, steady improvement. We don't need exhausting overnight shortcuts to get rich, to lose weight, or to become fluent in a language. We just need small, steady, daily improvements. The process itself changes you, forcing you to become patient and focused.
But Kaizen doesn't work if you're just wandering aimlessly. Vague wishes aren't enough. Saying, "I want to live comfortably in Japan and be successful," is just a wish, and it will probably fail. You have to make your goals incredibly specific, and you absolutely must write them down so you can break them into actionable pieces.
Think about it like this. Take a massive, intimidating 3-year goal, like becoming fluent in Japanese, and shrink it. Yearly, pass the exam. Quarterly, finish the textbook. Monthly, learn 300 words. Weekly, speak 3 times. And finally, the daily goal. Study for just 30 minutes. Suddenly, an impossible mountain becomes a highly digestible 30-minute daily habit. How cool is that?
Which brings us to a really magic number, 1. Give yourself exactly 1 year. As humans, we constantly massively overestimate what we can achieve in 6 short weeks, but we drastically and tragically underestimate the life-changing results of exactly 1 year of consistent daily discipline. In 1 year, you can build a new body, save a meaningful amount of money, and completely transform your career, but only if you stay consistent.
I want to leave you with a thought we touched on earlier, a really empowering thought on emotional maturity and discipline. I felt angry, but I am responsible for how I respond. True freedom in your 30s doesn't come from your bank account or your job title. True freedom comes when you finally take absolute responsibility for your own peace, your own habits, and your own continuous growth. So, looking at the decade ahead, what small daily action are you going to take responsibility for, starting today?